Hi again, everybody. It's your old pal, the History Nerd, and I am finally back in the man cave, and I have just returned from a five-day, yes, my friends, I said a 5-day trip to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. It was the third time I have visited the Bourbon Trail, and so I thought I would make this video to share with you the tips and tricks that I have picked up during my multiple visits to the Bourbon Trail. I am going to time code this video, so look down at the little chapters and the little bar at the bottom, and you can skip ahead to the parts that you like, but I'm hoping this video will be helpful to those of you visiting for the first time. And for those of you who've been before, I'm going to show you some of the special bottles that I was able to pick up during my trip, and that other visitors like you know you want to go, other visitors like you can also pick up on the Bourbon Trail. So, in the immortal words of Mr. Lawrence Tarrow, better known as Mr. T, let's cut out the jibber jabber.
Why you gotta jibber jabber all the time, filling my ears with this nonsense?
And let's start talking about bourbon. So, my friends, I enjoy what I do for a living. I've been doing it for 30 years. I love my profession. People think I'm pretty good at it. Been doing it for 30 years. But all it takes is an asshat or two to get on your last nerve for you to say, I need a vacation. So I came home one day a few weeks ago and I told Mrs. History Nerd, honey, I need to get away. I need to recharge my batteries. And she said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go back to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. She said, dearest husband, you've already made me go down that stupid Bourbon Trail twice. I'm not going to do it a third time. But if you want to go, you go and you be you. So that's what I did. I went by myself. I thought about asking a buddy if he wanted to go, but you know what? I didn't want to have to deal with the, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? I don't know. What are we going to eat? I don't know. I wanted to go by myself because I could do whatever the blue hell I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And that's exactly what I did. So on a Monday morning at the butt crack of dawn, I lit out from where I live for Louisville, Kentucky. Drove straight up I-65 north. It's about a 7-hour drive from where I live. And I was making good time, but y'all, I'm in Alabama. Just north of the Alabama-Tennessee line is Spring Hill, Tennessee. And there's a great bourbon store there, liquor store, called Elixir Spirits. And it's famous among whiskey tubers. Bruzel has been there. The Podcast, I wish those guys would make more videos. People say that about me. The Podcast has done a lot there. The guy who owns it, Tariq, great guy, knows everything there is to know about every kind of alcoholic beverage. But man, you start talking bourbon with Tariq, you're going to be there for a while. So I'm making good time, and I said, well, I'm going to go see what's at Elixir Spirit. So about 3.5 hours into my trip, I get off the interstate, I go to Elixir Spirits, and next thing you know, I have bought 4 bottles, not halfway to Louisville. Spent $300. And so when you spend $300 when you've not even reached the state where you're going buying bourbon, you know it's going to be an expensive trip. So I live in Alabama. We are a state-run liquor store state. The state owns all the liquor stores. The ones that aren't state-owned, they're higher than the state-owned liquor stores because they have to buy their liquor from the state. So when you go to a place like Tennessee or Kentucky, they have things that we will never see here in Alabama. And that's what happened at Elixir Spirits. And remember, if you're bored by this, skip ahead. There's chapters. Just look down at the bottom at the little bar. You can skip ahead. So at Elixir Spirits, I bought the Yellowstone Recollection. And y'all, I've been collecting bourbon for 6 years. I should know better. The only reason I bought this bottle is because it's a cool looking bottle. But I got the Yellowstone Recollection at Elixir Spirits. I got the Jack Daniel's Distillery Series, which used to be known as the Tennessee Tasters. These are only sold in the state of Tennessee. You can't get them anywhere else in the country. They do 3 or 4 of them a year. They had this one, it's the sweet mash version of the Distillery Series. I like the name Tennessee Tasters better, but I got that. We don't have the Green River Wheated Full Proof here in Alabama yet, but they had tons of it sitting on the shelf at Elixir Spirits, so I got that. And then I got a barrel pick of the Old Commonwealth Kentucky Nectar honey cask finished bourbon, which is tasty stuff. So I left Elixir Spirits, $300 lighter in the wallet, and I drove to Louisville. I did not go straight to my hotel though. I went to Cave Hill Cemetery in Louisville, Kentucky. You're probably saying, History Nerd, why in the blue hell would you go to a cemetery first of all? Well, Cave Hill Cemetery is very famous. They have their 2 most famous residents at Cave Hill Cemetery are Muhammad Ali, who's buried there, and Colonel Harlan Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken fame. But I did not go there for those 2. I've been there before and visited their graves. No, I went because I like to drink whiskey with dead distillers. It may sound strange to you. The reason I got into bourbon is because I love history. My channel is called History Nerd's Man Cave. I love history. Bourbon has a fascinating history. And I like to go visit the graves of famous dead distillers and drink the whiskeys that are named after them on their graves because it makes me feel connected to their history. A couple years ago, I went to Buffalo Trace in Frankfort, Kentucky. Not many people realize a couple of miles away from the distillery, Colonel E.H. Taylor is buried in Frankfort Cemetery. So I went to E.H. Taylor's grave and I drank E.H. Taylor bourbon on the grave of E.H. Taylor. Went to Lynchburg, Tennessee about a year ago. Went to the grave of Jack Daniel in the Little Lynchburg Cemetery. I drank Jack Daniel's 12-year on the grave of Jack Daniel. My purpose for going to Cave Hill Cemetery this time was Julian Van Winkle is buried in Cave Hill Cemetery. You may know him better as Pappy Van Winkle. So I stopped and I drank some Old Rip Van Winkle 10-year on Pappy Van Winkle's grave. And I also went to the grave of W.L. Weller, who is buried in that cemetery. And I drank some vintage Weller 12-year bourbon on the grave of W.L. Weller. George Garvin Brown, founder of Old Forester, first guy to sell bourbon in a bottle back in the 1800s, is also buried there, but it took me a while to find his grave and they kicked me out because it was closing time before I could go to George Garvin Brown's grave and drink the birthday bourbon I had taken from Old Forester. So anyway, I finally got to my hotel. I stayed during my trip at the Hotel Distill, which is part of the Marriott Autograph Collection. It's their Marriott's high-end hotels. It is a bourbon-themed hotel. I picked it especially because it's bourbon-themed. It's located right on Whiskey Row. It is a nice hotel, pricey. My room was $300 and something a night. And as soon as I checked in, I made a room review video for you, and I'm going to insert it right now. All right, y'all, I have checked into my king guest room here at the Hotel Distill in Louisville, Kentucky. The Hotel Distill is part of Marriott's Autograph Collection, which Marriott itself describes as upscale to luxury hotels designed to leave an impression on guests. And this hotel is neat because it is bourbon themed, as you would expect from a hotel in Louisville. Even the room keys look like they are made of bourbon barrel wood. And y'all, there is no better location than this hotel if you're wanting to do Whiskey Row activities. I'll get more into that later, but first, let me show you a little bit about the room. This room costs, by the way, about $300 a night. Let me show you what $300 gets you. We're standing here in the foyer, spinning the camera around. You walk into the room, the first thing on the left is the bathroom. And here you've got a water closet that does close for privacy. And here on the right, you've got your shower. And y'all look, it is an ample shower. I will give the Autograph Collection credit. They do have great showers. But spin around and look, y'all, there's no door to this part of the bathroom. It's wide open, and the sink for the bathroom is right there in the foyer when you walk in. So you walk through the foyer into the room itself, and y'all, it is a pretty small room. Now, albeit I got a king guest room, but this is it. I mean, it's pretty cramped in here. But the weird thing is, if you've got somebody taking a shower and they want some privacy, the only way, since there's no door on the bathroom, the only way is to close this big door. And that separates the bedroom from the bathroom. But if you've got somebody in the bedroom who wants to leave the room and somebody's in the shower, you have to open the door and go that way. Or if somebody's in the shower and somebody knocks on the door and wants to come in, there's no privacy for the person in the shower. It is kind of a weird layout here, but I am looking forward to experiencing this hotel. They've got what's considered Louisville's best steakhouse downstairs called Repeal Steakhouse. That's part of the bourbon theme. There's lots of other little touches that we'll get into. But anyway, folks, this is what about $300 a night gets you for a king guest room at the Hotel Distill. It's nice, but dang, I don't know if the square footage meets my $300 a night expectations. So they have a neat little tradition at the Hotel Distill. When you check in, they give you this little invitation. And it looks like one of the prescriptions that doctors could write for medicinal whiskey back during Prohibition. Yes, doctors could write prescriptions for medicinal bourbon during Prohibition. And this invitation looks like an actual prescription. This is an actual doctor's prescription from Prohibition that's in my collection. They look alike, and this one says, prescription for signature bourbon cocktail, 1 dose, to be enjoyed in the lobby at 7:33 precisely, nightly, Hotel Distill. So each night, the guests gather in the lobby of the Hotel Distill, and they have a toast at 7:33 p.m. to the repeal of Prohibition. Now, why precisely at 7:33 p.m.? Well, in military time, 7:33 is 1933, and 1933 is the year that they repealed Prohibition. So I made a video of the little ceremony that goes on. Ceremony lasts about 2 or 3 minutes, but here's a short clip of what to expect at the Hotel Distill's nightly repeal toast.
Thank you guys for joining us this evening to take part in our nightly tradition here at Hotel Distill. Tonight, as every night, we will be celebrating with a JTS Brown Old Fashioned made by our barkeep Repute. Doing so because this was the original bottling facility for JTS Brown, so we do like to keep their memory alive by doing this nightly. Off of our hands this week, plenty of good whiskey to go around. Let's raise our glass for those who made that possible for us to do this together. Cheers. Cheers, Jeff, friend. Cheers to you, sir.
So when I booked my stay at the Hotel Distill, everyone told me that the restaurant there, the Repeal Steakhouse, was the best restaurant in downtown Louisville. And I was thinking, sure, they're hyping it because they're just trying to get somebody to stay there, and they're just trying to get me to stay there. Y'all, I ate there on a Monday night, and the place was packed. It was busting at the seams from 6 o'clock on. As a matter of fact, it was so packed, since I was by myself, rather than wait for a table, I just went and ate in the bar. Because it was a steakhouse, I had a New York strip steak, I had a wedge salad, and I had they've got a great they've got a wonderful bourbon menu, as you would expect at a bourbon themed hotel. But they have a cabinet of unicorn bottles that is very, very impressive. And when it came out, I had wanted to try Booker's The Reserves, the tequila finished Booker's bourbon. I like Booker's. I know a lot of people don't like Jim Beam and think it tastes like peanuts or whatever. I like Booker's. And I wanted to try the Reserves tequila finished bourbon. Couldn't get my hands on a bottle, so they had it for $25 a pour. So I had my medium steak. I had my a New York strip steak cooked medium. I had a wedge salad, and I had my pour of Booker's The Reserves. And before I added the tip, my dinner was $118, which is what you would expect for a steakhouse. Everything at the hotel, though, y'all, it's pricey. Valet parking, $50 a night. But you got a valet because there's really nowhere else convenient to park in downtown Louisville. So $300 a night room wasn't worth $300 a night. The room was tiny, you know. $225, a couple of $100, $300's too much. $50 valet, $118 steakhouse dinner. It starts to add up. And when I checked out, my bill was pricey. So it's a great hotel. It's a fun time, but it's not worth $300 a night. I tell you what is special about the hotel, though. The most special thing is its location. It is located directly on Whiskey Row. You walk out the front door of your hotel, and the Old Forester Distillery Experience is directly next door. Half of the distilleries are to the right, a few blocks down, and the other half of the distilleries are a few blocks left, down the block. So especially if you're planning on sampling or drinking and don't want to have to drive in Louisville after you've been sampling at the distilleries, it's a great hotel to stay because you just walk a few blocks in either direction and you can hit every single distillery. I woke up Tuesday morning, walked out the door and walked down to Michter's distillery. I got there about 45 minutes before it opened. Downtown Louisville is a cool place to walk through, especially on Whiskey Row, because you got the Louisville Slugger Museum. You've got the national headquarters of the Sons of the American Revolution that have a big patriotic statue out front. You even pass a giant solid gold tallywhacker when you're walking down Whiskey Row towards Michter's. So I got to Michter's about 45 minutes before it opened and stood in line. I was the fifth person in line, 45 minutes beforehand. And the reason people get there early is because when the doors open, they just about every day they have a special drop. And you don't know how many bottles they have. They could have 10 bottles, they could have 4 cases. I mean, you don't know. So people get there early. By the time it opened, there was probably 10 or 15 people in the line. Plus the other thing is, y'all, if you're watching this video at this point, you like bourbon. And there's nothing better than meeting strangers and be immediately bonded in the brotherhood of bourbon and talking bourbon with strangers. So they opened the door, we went in, and they told us that the special drop that day was a bundle. You had to buy 2 bottles to get the special drop. One of the bottles, nothing special. It was the Michter's American Whiskey. You can get this in just about every liquor store that you walk into. The other bottle in the combo, though, was Michter's 10-year bourbon. This is hard to get bourbon. It's 94 proof. People search this stuff out all over the place. Runs about $200 a bottle alone. So this combo, I think, was about $265. Now, truth be told, I've not had a lot of Michter's, but I've heard great things about this. So I went down and waited in line and got my 10-year bourbon, and I'm looking forward to trying it. Hadn't opened any of these, you may notice, because I like to show virgin bottles on my videos, but I will taste all of this soon. Also at Michter's, they have a thing called the Bottle Your Own Experience, where you can pay $160 and you can go buy some barrel strength. They take you in the back of the room and you get to fill your own bottle with barrel strength bourbon, $160. I signed up for it. I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute and you'll see why. But I signed up for that. They've sold out of the 10-year probably within an hour of opening. People were just clamoring for it. So as I left Michter's and was waiting for my Bottle Your Own Experience, I walked a couple blocks down to Kentucky Peerless. Peerless is another bourbon I've not had a lot of experience with, but people who like Michter's love Michter's. They swear by it. And I heard good things about the distillery, but it's kind of off Whiskey Row. It's a couple blocks off. You actually have to walk underneath a interstate overpass to get down to where the Kentucky Peerless distillery is. But I went down there, nice gift shop. Let me tell y'all, I didn't do any bourbon tours this time because this is my third trip, y'all. If you've been to the trail before, or if it's your first time, here's what to expect. Every tour is the same. Bourbon's got to be at least 50.1% corn. Bottle and Bond Act was passed in 1897. There's rye and wheat. I mean, they say the same things at every tour. And so I didn't do any tours. As I said earlier, I was there looking for bottles. So I walked into Peerless, and the reason is I heard that they have distillery exclusives just about every day. And people swear by them. And so I got a Peerless single barrel bourbon. Now, Peerless is expensive. I mean, I don't know that they've got a bourbon for under $90. Most of them are north of $100. I know that I paid over $100 for this Peerless single barrel. But it said, you know, the Peerless Bourbon Archive, get it now because once it's gone, it's gone. I got this single barrel. It's got a name. It's called Daisy. And this single barrel, the tasting notes on the side says, a single barrel with natural notes of raw honey, aromatic cedar wood, and fresh lavender. I don't know that I've ever wanted to have a bourbon that tasted like aromatic cedar wood or fresh lavender, but now that I own one, I will find out if I like that. I also got, they're famous for their Peerless double oaked bourbon. And you can get this anywhere, but I just got it at the distillery because I was there. This is like a $100 bottle, but people swear by the double oaked bourbon. Some people love this stuff. It's like crack cocaine to them. So I got that to try as well. I walked down to Bardstown Bourbon Company, which is also on Whiskey Row. Their distillery is in Bardstown, and that will be in part 2 of the video. But they have a tasting room on Whiskey Row, which I walked into. And y'all, it looked like a damn Apple store. I was looking around for the Genius Bar and the line of people waiting to drop off their MacBooks for repair. It's not what I'm looking for in a distillery or bourbon experience. It's modern and fresh and sleek. And y'all, I like my distilleries with dirt on the floor, cobwebs in the ceiling, and barrel char in the air. I mean, you know, we want the old Rick House feeling. But this was very sterile and modern, but I guess that's Bardstown Bourbon Company's. That's the way they like things, and I like Bardstown. They make good bourbon, but I didn't buy anything there. I waited till I went to the distillery in Bardstown. I went next door, about a block down, to the Evan Williams Bourbon Experience. That and Old Forester, if you're a first timer, you either need to do the Old Forester Bourbon Experience or the Evan Williams Bourbon Experience, because it walks you through the whole history of bourbon, and it will really educate you. But the reason I went to Evan Williams was because I know that they have a couple of bottles that you can't get anywhere else. And y'all, when I was in college at the University of Alabama in the 1990s, I drank the hell out of Evan Williams bourbon. Not because it was particularly good, because, hell, I was mixing it in Coke. I was in college. The reason I got Evan Williams bourbon is because the Alabama ABC stores always had it on sale, and it was the cheapest stuff that didn't taste like turpentine. So I'm used to paying inexpensive prices for Evan Williams. I mean, their bottle and bond today, it's great stuff. It's like $20 for a bottle of it. And that Evan Williams bottle and bond's great stuff. So I never thought I would see the day where I would pay the prices that I paid for some Evan Williams, but they make an Evan Williams 12-year-old bourbon that they only sell in two places: Japan and the Evan Williams Bourbon Experience on Whiskey Row. And look, I'm a collector. I can't help it. I mean, I'm a drinker too. I drink everything I collect, but I'm a collector. And when they said, you can only get it in Japan or Louisville on Whiskey Row, I sprung for a bottle. Evan Williams 12-year bourbon costs $150 a bottle. I spent $150 on freaking Evan Williams. If you told me in college that I would one day spend $150 on a bottle of Evan Williams, I would have told you were out of your pluperfect mind. But I did it, and I'm looking forward to trying it, and I think it's just cool to have it. The other bottle that I got at Evan Williams, they had just released a few days before, and y'all, the local TV news did a story about there was a line of people waiting for the drop because this bourbon that they dropped is so beloved. They do it every year. There's a thing before the Kentucky Derby each year. Kentucky Derby's in May, but they have a thing called the Kentucky Derby Festival. And Evan Williams makes a single barrel, drops a single barrel release for the Kentucky Derby Festival. This is 108 proof Evan Williams single barrel. This is this year's drop for the Kentucky Derby Festival. This envelope apparently has the Pegasus pin that's the logo of the Bourbon Festival. And if you get a bronze colored pin or something like that, gold colored, I don't know, you get special prizes. I hadn't opened mine. I probably won't because I'm not in Kentucky. But anyway, yes, folks, I fell for the hype. People were lined up waiting a few days before I got there. It was sitting on the shelf, and so I got this Evan Williams Kentucky Derby Festival bottle, $109. So $150, $109. For these two bottles when I was drinking the stuff in college because it was so damn cheap. So I still had some time to kill, and I decided to walk back to the hotel, drop off all these damn bottles I had bought, and stopped at Old Forester, which, as I said, was next door to my hotel distill. And I thought Old Forester would be the land of milk and honey. I thought they would have barrel-proof single barrels and Evan Williams Old Forester 1924 sitting on the shelf. And I mean, it's a great place. And I've toured that Bourbon Experience before. It's wonderful. The gift shop's very nice. Y'all, they ain't got anything special except for one bottle. The other stuff, they've got like mint julep mix and the 100 proof Old Forester. So don't go to Old Forester thinking you're going to find anything special on the shelf. Other than, I got this. This is their 117 series bourbon. It's a 375 milliliter from their 117 series. I paid $65 for this. It's called the High Angel Share Rye. It's actually a rye. I didn't even look, I just bought it. High Angel Share Rye, Kentucky straight rye whiskey, 110 proof, release dates March 2026. So this is brand new. I'm recording this in March. So this just hit the shelves, but this was the only special release bottle they had at Old Forester. So that brings me back to the Michter's Bottle Your Own experience. The Michter's Bottle Your Own experience is, people clamor to do it. They only have a certain number of slots per day. People get there early to sign up for them. It invariably sells out. Was it a cool experience? Yeah, I mean, it was fine. They take you in this back room, and there's a little table. There's about 10 of y'all in that room. They've got a box on the table, they've got a bottle, and they've got some little labels and a pen. And they say, write your name on the label, write the date, write the proof, stick the labels on the box, stick the label on the bottle, and then come with me. And they walk you to the other side of the room. There is a big tube attached to a barrel. And I had my video camera, and I asked the guy, since I was by myself, would you mind videoing me? I handed it to him. I said, all you gotta do is hit this button, hit the red button. I walk up to the thing, I put my bottle where you're supposed to fill it up. I said, hit the red button. He said, red button's hit. Y'all, that damn red button didn't get hit because there was no video of me filling my own bottle. So I'm borrowing some video from a website, from a YouTube channel called House Bourbon, which is a great channel. I love it. It's by this guy from New Zealand who's a bourbon nerd like the rest of us. He cusses a lot, but other than that, I'm a big House Bourbon fan. He did the Bottle Your Own experience, and so I'm using his video. You literally put your bottle in. They say on the count of 3, you pull the lever. You pull the lever, the bourbon fills up the little tube in front of you, and they say, now pull this lever. You pull the lever, and the bourbon goes in your bottle. And they say, come over here, and they put a sticker on your bottle, and they put the bottle in the box, and they say, thank you for your $160, and you walk away. Last 10, maybe 15 minutes. But you do get this. This is my Michter's Bottle Your Own bottle. Michter's is famous for not having a lot of high proof bourbon. This is, they call it their Fort Nelson Distillery Reserve. It is their barrel proof bourbon, and you can only get this bourbon if you do the Bottle Your Own experience. You got your little label on the front, and then you open it up, and there you've got the bottle in a box. It's a nice presentation. The bourbon is 100.6, no, it's 110.6 proof. As I said, Michter's does not have a whole lot of high proof bourbon. I think this may be the highest they do. 110.6 proof bourbon. But like I said, the whole experience was rather impersonal, lasted 10, maybe 15 minutes. Here's what I would recommend that you do, if not instead of the Bottle Your Own, do it in addition to the Bottle Your Own. Just down the road, within eyesight, if I remember correctly, from Michter's, is the Pursuit Spirits store. You may know the Bourbon Pursuit podcast. This guy named Kenny, a couple guys named Kenny and Ryan had this popular bourbon podcast. It was the most popular one. They said, hey, why don't we start a bourbon company? They did. And now they've got a storefront on Whiskey Row in addition to a barreling and bottling facility just off Whiskey Row. Well, Pursuit Spirits has this thing called the whole shebang. It costs the same thing as Bottle Your Own. But whereas this lasted 10 or 15 minutes, I signed up for the whole shebang. Did it with, there was a father and son, great guys. I emailed with them afterwards. We got to know each other a little bit. Father had just retired. Father and son were on a family, father-son Bourbon Trail trip. Great people. And another guy from California. 4 strangers, but we got to know each other really well during this experience. I take you in this room, and sitting before you are 4 glasses full of barrel-proof whiskey. 3 bourbons when I did it, 3 ryes. Plus you have a Copita tasting glass with their high-end bourbon and rye that they serve you in that. And they do this presentation. We had the woman who did ours was named Lauren Dupre. Hello, Lauren, if you're watching this, you were wonderful. God bless you. Kenny Ryan, give that woman a raise. She was great. She walks you through the history of Pursuit Spirits and the Bourbon Pursuit podcast. And then they say, start sampling your bourbons and pick out the one you like best. The reason is there are 6 barrels in the room with you, sitting on their side. And each bourbon and rye comes from one of those barrels. And what you do is you sit there and you taste this high proof, very good bourbon and rye, and pick the one that you like. You can also blend them. They let you blend them if you want to. But when you've picked out the one that you like, and as you're sampling the bourbon, they're pouring their other like high-end products into your Copita glass. So you're tasting your bourbons and then you're drinking bourbons. And y'all, I was there for 2 hours. This was a 2-hour experience. When I walked out of there, I wasn't lit, but I was glowing. So I told Lauren Dupre, our whiskey guide, I said, Lauren, if Michter's Bottle Your Own is a street hooker, and the whole shebang is a professional escort, because this was over in 15 minutes, but the whole shebang, I got to enjoy it for a while. So it's street hooker versus professional escort. There were actually 2 barrels that I really liked. There was a bourbon barrel and a rye barrel. And you get 1 bottle when you sign up for the experience. But if you want another bottle, if there are 2 barrels you like, it's only $70 more to buy the second bottle. But here's the great thing about it, y'all. They give you one of those big whiskey thieves, and you thieve the bourbon or rye straight from the barrel into your own bottle. It's got barrel char floating around in it. I mean, it is, and we had the best time. Me and the 3 other guys who were strangers, but we got to know each other. We were we're joking, we're laughing, we're thieving, we're lit. Bourbon and rye is dripping down the side of the barrels because we're having a hard time finding the. But y'all, it was the most wonderful experience, probably of this whole trip. It was one of my favorite experiences. So I would tell you, rather than doing the Bottle Your Own at Michter's, think about doing the whole shebang at Pursuit Spirits. It costs the same, $160 for either. Or if you're going to do this, also do the other. Don't deny yourself, because it was such a fun time. So let me show you what I got at Pursuit. First of all, a lot of folks say good things about their regular products. I got their Double Oak Bourbon. I'm a big fan of the podcast. I was fanboying out. Kenny, one of the hosts of the podcast, came by when we were doing our whole shebang. I got to meet Kitty. You know, look, y'all, I'm in politics. I meet a lot of famous people. I met presidents. I've met folks who walked on the moon. I meet lots of famous people. I was more excited about meeting Kenny from Bourbon Pursuit podcast than just about any politician I've ever met. But I got their double oaked. But when we did the whole shebang, I got a bourbon, and you get to fill out your deck label up here, and you write in the barrel number, your name, the date that you did it, and then you have the option of naming your bourbon. Well, this one had a very strong sweet corn note that I just loved. And so I named this bourbon Cornflake City. Y'all, I was lit. Cornflake City. So there's that one. And then I'm not really a rye guy, but they had a rye available where the mint note, it was just pure mint. It was like drinking a mint julep. It was so minty. And I loved it. So I paid up and got a second bottle, paid $70, got a rye, and I named this one Mouthwash All Day Long. Crazy what you can come up with when you've been drinking high proof bourbon for 2 hours. But they also have something else. Their bottling and barreling facility is on Melwood Avenue, just off Whiskey Row. And their facility there, it's the old Melwood Distillery, which is a now defunct brand that was around, I think, back, pre-Prohibition. And so they have brought back, this is their legacy spirits. They've brought back the Melwood label. This is their high-end stuff. This is a 375. It's a bottled in bond, so it's 100 proof. 7-year, well, it didn't say. This is a bottled in bond legacy whiskey from their legacy collection. That was $30 for a 375. I thought that was cool. I got that. They've also got another one. And this one is a little bit pricier, but this one is cool as well. This is their 7-year barrel proof legacy bourbon. This too is a brand that they have resurrected. It's called Derbytown. And as I said, it's a 7-year-old barrel proof bourbon. It's 122.8 proof. And I paid $50 for a 375. Matter of fact, I got a few of these. So that's the experience I had there, y'all. Like I said, instead of Michter's, think about doing Pursuit or do both. But don't neglect the whole shebang experience because it really was cool. And I think you'll have as much fun as I did. So I get done at Pursuit. I call an Uber because I'm a responsible man. I didn't drive anyway. I called an Uber. And I went to a liquor store, like I needed more liquor, that's just off of Whiskey Row called Evergreen Liquor. It's a rather famous store, liquor store, because they have a tasting bar. But unlike a lot of tasting bars, it's not just like their barrel picks that they've got there. They've got the unicorn bottles, and their prices are fantastic. You can get a pour of a unicorn bottle at just a fantastically affordable price. And so I went to Evergreen Liquors and I sat down at the tasting bar. This was on Tuesday. Wednesday, by the way, all of their prices are half price. I also went to an Evergreen on Wednesday, which we'll get to. But on Tuesday, it was full price, and they've got the whole Pappy line. They've got everything. But the Pappy was $150 or $125 a pour. I knew I was going the next day to another location of Evergreen, so I didn't get that. But they had Weller Single Barrel and Weller CYPB. And just the Saturday before I went to Kentucky, I missed out on a Weller Single Barrel by minutes. My wife got picked in the state lottery. She went to the store, like, guys, 2 people in front of her got the last Weller Single Barrel. So anyway, I got to try the Weller Single Barrel, and I got to try the Weller CYPB. And looking at the pictures of me sampling both bourbons, you can see that I had a good time at the whole shebang. Look at my eyes. And I went looking through the liquor store, and y'all, I got lucky. Right in the liquor store, they had a display for retail price. I got the Old Forester 1924 that I have been dying to try. The Old Forester 1924, it's the same mash bill as the old Brown-Forman early times, but more importantly, it's the same mash bill as Brown-Forman's King of Kentucky that everybody loves. And I have heard good things about the 1924 10-year-old Whiskey Row series, so I bought 2 bottles, which are pricey. They are $115. So that ends my day in Louisville. The next day, I checked out of my hotel and made my way to Bardstown, visiting distilleries along the way. That part 2 video will be coming up soon. Let me also say that a couple of years ago, during another visit to the Bourbon Trail, I made another video that I will put down in the description if you want to watch that one. So that's it, folks. That's the Louisville portion of my trip. I hope you got some information that was helpful to you. I hope you enjoyed seeing my bottles and hearing what I did. And let me just tell you to do 3 things for me in closing. I want you to give me the Fonzie thumbs up. Hey, hit subscribe, and then ring that bell. So the next time I fire up the old YouTube gizmo, you will be among the first to know. Friends, I always close my videos by wishing you 3 things that I think are important. Be good, be well, and most importantly, be happy. And when a couple of asshats get on your nerves and you need your batteries recharged, take a drive up to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail like I did. I will see y'all again in part 2 of this video, which I'll make here in a couple of days. God bless. Goodbye.